Today, bein it's what not only is my bread and butter, but it's also, what I thoroughly love doing. I love sharing culture. I love sharing language. I love being able to tell our stories from our perspective. And that's what people need to hear today in order to understand who we are, where we come from, and that we're still here.
So where are we at?
So this is the Ruth and Bob Russell Archive building. And basically it houses our collection, houses the collection. And so you have the museum collections on one side, and then on the other side you have the archive collection.
Okay.
So
this is all archives.
This is all, that side is archives, this side is museum collections.
Oh, inside the same building. Sorry, I was referring to the old. Okay.
Oh,
right.
No.
Now I'm on board.
Yeah. So we have a lot of archaeological ethnographical material that's housed here. So, we have some old pottery that I've been slowly cleaning. There was a lot of debris left on some of the objects when I came in. I don't know who had curated the show before I came in, but for some reason they were not very professional in terms of making sure that the items were stabilized properly. So there's a lot of glue and debris on the bottom of the pots. So I've been slowly cleaning them off. I think I have a few more pots to go. So aside from being a curator, I also have to make sure that, I'm the collections manager as well. So I have to manage the collection.
Person in many hats.
Definitely.
And then where do all, I know this is a loaded question, but where do all these come from?
From a lot of different places, is my understanding. When I came in 2012, there was not a lot of information about where a lot of the collection came from.
Yeah.
Again, the renovation project of the fourth floor really gave me an opportunity to see what we have as a collection. And so as we were moving things down here and getting this place situated to house the collection, I had to really, I'm still doing a lot of research in terms of where a lot of the items came from. So you have some old cradle boards, we have some baskets, we have northern and southern beadwork styles in our collection. We also have some parfleche as well, men's leggings, beaded leggings. So there's a lot of different, like I said, there's a lot of different components that are housed within our collection, and they're from a lot of different places. The significant collection that we have is our sand painting collection, and that came to us from the Wheelwright Museum back in 1978, if I remember correctly. Part of what used to be the Navajo Cultural, Museum of Navajo Art is what it used to be before it became the Wheelwright Museum. That's where we, that's where the sand painting collection came from. We also have some old jewelry from a lot of the jewelry classes that were offered. A lot of these date back to the early 60s and 70s, or the late 60s, early 70s, and probably early 80s collection.
Wow.
That were, that are housed here as well.
So do you have jewelers who are elders that come out here and do talks or anything? Or
Well, with the Navajo Cultural Arts Program, you know,
Kind of show them like the old ways of doing certain
Yeah.
silversmithing and whatnot.
they, you know, they're lucky that they have that program because they are able to work with other artists and help showcase their artwork as well.
They also work
So-
as mentors, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So Crystal Littleben, who's the manager for that program specifically, she's the one who works with jewelers, weavers, basket makers. This was one of the pieces that was in the museum before it was renovated. And so what I love about this is like when I think back to the early like Harrison Begay style of
Yep.
painting, this is what that's kind of representative of. We have some other panels on the other side that are part of the creation story, but this one particularly is about Navajo Community College and Dine College becoming what it is. And so you kind of see this, you know, like we have our history, we graduate, we, you know, obtain our diplomas, but there's also the two factors that come into it of tradition and modern culture being combined. So you have the leadership that takes place, you have doctors, carpenters, you know, nurses, teachers, secretaries, you know, mechanics, but you also have the traditional beings, you know, the medicine men, the dances that take place, the weaving that takes place. We have the horse culture. You know, I remember you talked with Shane about horses and his whole lifestyle. So, you know, this, like I said, you know, and in a lot of ways, it's kind of like, you know, I look at it and it's kind of like a reflection of my own story, you know, growing up and, you know, you, like I said, you graduate and you continue moving forward, you get to travel and see all the different things there. But it also brings you back to the things that you don't get to see outside of the nation.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things, you know, coming back here to Dine College for me is really what opened my eyes to. There are so many things that I see now that I will never get to experience outside the nation.
What Dine College, formerly NCC, is really important about is keeping culture intact, not forgetting where we come from, but also you can get education with the cultural weaving throughout all of it as well too, which is really the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
You know, I went to UNM and I went to TVI, now CNM.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
But it didn't give me the full Dine history, the full culture, everything. But also I didn't go down the Melva Cheese, one of the professors there, which I love talking to her too as well. But it's great that an entire campus and system built by Dine and also taught by Dine to not forget where we come from, but still make sure we make a living in modern
Yeah,
society as well.
yeah. And I mean, and
Or
that's,
Western society, I should say.
and that's what's so unique about being at Dine College right now is the fact that, you know, we offer a master's program.
And that's,
We are becoming a university, or we are a university now.
well,
You know, so to be able to, you know, gain your degrees, but also work closely with practitioners that work for the college, you know, again, it's the best of both worlds if that's what you're looking for. You know, I think sometimes, like I said, you know, as young people, even probably you and I when we were young, we were so quick to think that, oh, leaving the nation is, I'm gonna leave, I'm never gonna come back, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna go off and, you know, become somebody, whoever I'm gonna become.
I'm going to be an architect.
You know, yeah, yeah, you know, I mean, we think about that, but realistically, you know, where else are you gonna find this kind of education? And that's what makes tribal colleges and universities so unique. because they're tied to the culture, they're tied to the language, they're tied to the tradition of, wherever the tribal college is located. And there's 37 tribal colleges, I believe, today.
And I believe
Dine College is the one who started. Well, Navajo Community College is what started the tribal college and university movement.
So we are the first indigenous tribal college in the world. Is that what I'm hearing?
And yep, especially here in the United States. And and again, because of the philosophy that we have, because of the foundation that the college is built on, all of this right here is what makes us priceless in a sense.
I couldn't.
All this knowledge, all of this beautiful, wonderful, not only artwork, but the stories that are tied to our collection is what makes this place priceless. You can't set a price to what we're teaching our students here, but also at the same time you can't set a price to what we have within our collection. But let me show you the creation story one here. We have one that's damaged pretty badly, but you have like those stories that we talk about. We talk about Hajine and what coming up from the underworlds, and coming out from black world, blue world, yellow, and into the glittering world. So these were storyboards that were at one time really important because of the stories that they contain. And then at some point, somebody didn't find them important and they threw them in the trash.
Wow.
So the person who brought these back and made sure that we kept them in as part of our collection, did the right thing, I'd say. So you have the story of Spider Woman and the Hero Twins, and their journey to the sun to visit their father. And even in this, there's a whole story that's there. And even here, Changing Woman having the twins, and their journey before they went to go find their father. And then of course all of the things that play into it, the giants that roamed the earth at one time. And today we have those modern giants that are still among us, like laziness and starvation and abuse and all of that.
That's crazy. You mentioned it just now because that's exactly what the farmer said last weekend. He said the monsters are still here. The 4 monsters are still here. We just don't have the warriors to help us battle, because it's up to each of us
as an individual.
Yep.
We are warriors. We are the warriors of today to overcome those giants that plague us today. The sicknesses, the different things that we're surrounded by in terms of what we're not doing to help ourselves in that sense. And that's why I always tell people, you don't have an excuse. You have Dine College right here.
You have all the tools right in front of you.
You have all the tools right here in front of you. And again, this is how we're tied to it. These storyboards give you all the information you need to think about where you're headed in the future with your education, and where it's going to take you from here.
I feel like I'm Indiana Jones just walking through.
Right.
I just need the hat.
So these are the sand painting panels I was telling you about.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. These were what were given back to us from the Wheelwright Museum back in the 70s. I work with several practitioners, or I am working with several practitioners to really help not only organize them by ceremony, but also making sure that, you know, we're able to share what we need to share with those that are learning. And that's one of the things, like I said, with my dissertation that I'm currently working on, is helping to make recommendations for culturally sensitive material to be shared only with the community. And when I say community, for us, of course, that's for the Navajo Nation. And I think what's important is that people really kind of understand where we're coming from when we talk about, you know, how stories are tied to each of these panels. You know, there's ceremonies that are performed still.
Is this the part you want me to leave off?
When an elder passes, they take all that knowledge with them. And I think when it comes to what we have as a collection, we need our young people to understand that the learning tools are here. It's here for them to be able to learn, to be able to capture, to be able to continue carrying that tradition forward of this is how we help our people, you know. And these ceremonies surpass any student who is out there becoming a medical doctor. This is where our healings come from, and this is why it's important that, you know, the information be kept sacred for the sake of, you know, ceremony. And again, it's very bittersweet when you're working with elderly individuals who know about these ceremonies. And even though they say you're not supposed to think about them, you know, going, we know that in time it's going to happen. And when it does, how do we capture the stories while we still can, so that those that are learning have it available for themselves? Realistically, you cannot Google information on these panels to say this is going to cure this illness. And even at that, even in our ceremonies, some of them have 5 days, 5 different sand paintings. You know, there's a sand painting that goes with a certain ceremony. Who knows a medicine man who's left to perform that ceremony now?
I have a lot of personal thoughts I need to ponder through. All
this
positive.
This place will do that to you.
I mean, it's all positive. It's just... Alrighty, so we're coming up at the end of our episode, and just want to get your thoughts, Nonabah, about what would be your advice from anybody who's a little Nonabah out there watching these videos?
I would have to say...
Sorry, I didn't even know the camera was like that. I've been trying to do this new angle. It's just not working out.
I would say my best advice is to follow your heart, follow your passion. You know, if you know what it is that you want to do early on, then go after it. Like I said, I started as a junior in high school, knowing and understanding that this was going to be my path for life. And today, you know, it's what not only is my bread and butter, but it's also, you know, what I thoroughly love doing. I love sharing culture. I love sharing language. I love being able to tell our stories from our perspective. And that's what people need to hear today in order to understand who we are, where we come from, and that we're still here. And so, you know, tell the story like it is. Don't give in to that idea of just because it was told this way by a non-native perspective, that we can continue telling the story the way that we need to keep telling it. And, you know, hopefully as we go through life, as we continue to move forward, that story continues to stay with our children as well.
All right, well said. Kat, really appreciate your time. Enjoyed your stories.
Thank you.
Sorry, honey, I almost kissed her. All right, Kat, for everybody for watching, appreciate it. And yeah, check out her videos. Kat.